you're ever in Winter Haven and you're over by Legoland, there's a sports medicine clinic right there above the wine bar. And what's the other place there? The pub, the...
That's right. Yep, we've got Paddy Wagon downstairs.
Paddy Wagon, that's it, yeah. Anyway, her office is up above there and all her team. Great to have you on board, Michelle. Good to see you again. You still skiing, by the way?
I am. I took up I feel competitively slalom skiing this summer.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. No, that's one of the best all-round exercises that you can do in water skiing. I mean, upper body, legs, you know, back, you name it. But you like it?
I love it. The thing that I like most about it is it's a mental game. There's only 6 buoys. All you got to do is try and get yourself around it. It has nothing to do, you know, I love show skiing, I love the crowds, but this is a totally different experience.
It's different, all right. But the popularity of show skiing, obviously, with the crowds, you know, it's really the best ambassador in terms of sports disciplines that USA Water Ski has. And speaking of USA Water Ski and Wake Sports, the official governing body of the United States Olympic Committee in the sport of water skiing. You had the opportunity to travel, I believe, to South America as the official medical doctor for Team USA, correct? Did I get that kind of right? If not, close enough?
Close enough, absolutely. So I've been involved with USA Water Ski for a number of years. One of the biggest things that they had me do was represent every non-governmental body, NGB, which is part of the USOC, had to be represented by a physician or some other medical personnel. And so I had gone and represented them. This was around the time of the Dr. Naser issues going on with gymnastics. And so I went and represented them with it was a summit on sexual abuse in sports. And so was able to bring back that information, connect again with USA Water Ski and Wake Sports, and help to implement some policy changes to try to promote safety for the athletes.
Wonderful. That's quite a trip there to be with the USA team and going through those things. But in regards to local here in our community, tell us a little bit about you know, what you guys do, what you offer. I know right now, as we were talking beforehand, you're doing a lot of sports physicals with school starting back up. So what are some of those things that, you know, people in the community, they're looking for needs that you guys offer?
Absolutely. So right now, the biggest thing is sports physicals for sure. And these poor parents, to be fair, their kids are coming to them. It's Monday morning, and they have to have their physical by this afternoon for a tryout, or life is going to end as we know it. And they don't know where to go, right? They go to the urgent care. The urgent care is so full with COVID stuff right now that they call the primary care doctor. They can't get them in for months. So they're like, where do we go next? And so that's how they end up calling us. So yeah, sports physicals is a big thing right now. Over the summer, we were talking about baseball before. Baseball is ongoing, so plenty of elbows and shoulders. We get, you know, a few people stick around over the summer that are in the senior category, taking care of some of that arthritis, but that's going to come back in force once we get into a little bit more cooler weather. If it was me and I could get out of town for the summer, you know, I might consider it. But yeah, and then we've got football around the corner, so certainly a big high participation, but also unfortunately high injury event and sport, and so those folks will be coming in here in the next couple months.
Yeah. So the name of your clinic is Releve. I want to make sure, because I've been corrected by her before. It's not Releve, it's Releve, correct?
Absolutely, yes. Congratulations. It's pronounced correctly.
Questioning stare. And Releve Sports in Winter Haven. How'd you come up with that name? Like Relieve sounds even better to me, but Releve, how did that come about?
That's right, and we'll take both. We're here to relieve your pain and Releve. So if you look at a lot of the sports medicine clinics from across the country, to be fair, they are often called institutes or centers for sports medicine. And so in that scenario, if you're trying to look up who's the best sports medicine physician around, I would bet that it'll pop Releve Sports Medicine up, but if they're searching Center for Sports Medicine or Sports Medicine Institute, we were going to end up being on page 5 because everyone else has paid for advertising. So went back to the drawing board, said what reflects what we do. And when we were looking at that, releve refers to going up to the highest point of your foot. And in our situation, we're trying to get people to their highest potential. So if we can get you back to your sport, fabulous. If we can get it so that you don't have pain when you wake up in the middle of the night and are trying to get to the bathroom, perfect, right? We determine what those goals are from the get-go, and we help you to try to accomplish those.
I sleep right through the night because I have a clean conscience. So Gerald and I are straight arrows, right, Gerald?
Exactly. Exactly. How is, speaking of releve, how are you guys tied in within the community, and what community things do you guys have where you benefit out and you reach out?
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely do a lot of outreach. We're the Polk County Public Schools preferred provider in our area. Why is that? It's because we're very accessible. We take all of the Medicaids. If you want to take care of kids in this county, you have to take Medicaid. And so if you're not, then those kids are just not being able to access care. So that certainly connects us there with the public schools. And then we work directly with both Polk State College as well as All Saints Academy. And so Polk State College, they've got all their sports ramping up. I know we had all the volleyball players in last week. A lot of talent coming from around the world with Polk State College's volleyball team.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this question because it applies to you. This is the 100th anniversary of the sport of water skiing. 100 years ago, July 2nd, the sport was invented by Ralph Samuelson, a good Christian philanthropist from Lake City, Minnesota, on Lake Pepin. Not necessarily the 100 years favorite memory, it could even be your own favorite memory of the sport of water skiing. You're a water skier, you're a good one. What would be your favorite, your highlight as we celebrate 100 years of the sport of water skiing?
Absolutely, that is a great question. I will tell you that, so as anyone participates in a sport, you spend countless hours trying to get better at it. And so I can relate to my patients who are participating in all of their activities. One of the things that in swivel skiing that people work so hard for at the beginning is to be able to do a toe turn. It's a weird sensation to be pulled by a rope by your foot. And so being able, I want to say that I probably did hundreds, if not near 1,000 toe turns being pulled by Mark Voisar, around Eagle Lake. And my husband even at that time was pulling me around Tampa Bay, because when I first started learning, we were living in St. Petersburg. And so at times it was really quite tenuous, but getting that for the first time was the coolest activity. You're given these big hoorahs, these big cheers, just for you didn't have to pull pin.
That's funny. That's and I just had 4 days of broadcasting up in Wisconsin at actually the largest water ski tournament in the world. And a lot of the interviews that I was doing up there, I asked the athletes or officials or whatever it may have been, what was your most memorable experience in your career, in celebrating 100th anniversary? So I was kind of curious. I go, it just kind of popped into my head. Imagine that.
Oh, what's we just talked about with kids going back to school and sports starting and so forth in high school. What's just a few of those things that parents can help their kids with, and kids for themselves can do to take care to prevent those injuries that are popping up that you see the most and throughout sports?
Yeah, good question. So the most frequent time period for injury is at the beginning of the season and then in that postseason time period. At the beginning of season, to be fair, I would say that the highest yield thing to talk about is that for high school sports in August, that is absolutely by far and away the most significant amount of heat illness. Mm-hmm. So with heat illness, how do we prevent that? One, it takes 2 weeks to acclimatize to heat. That in many regards comes out of the parents or the coaches' ability to modify, because the state of Florida puts out that you have to go through no pads, exercising, and then progressively getting into pads and helmets. So that helps with the acclimatization, but it takes 2 weeks. That's referring to changes in the amount of volume of sweat, changes in the amount of electrolytes within your sweat. And then the other part is going to be nutrition there, nutrition and hydration, right? We'd heard about that as it relates to baseball. When it comes to heat, these kids are maybe trying to lose weight, but the beginning of the season is not the time to do that. If they're changing weight from before practice to after practice, more than 3% of body weight change, it's all hydration status, and that's going to affect sports performance up to only 3%. I imagine if I'm outside, I'm sweating more than that. I was for sure doing that at Southern Regionals. It was hot. And so being able to get back to that baseline for hydration is going to help to prevent those kids from ending up in the ER.
And electrolytes are a big part of that.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. So that, like we got 3 seconds left. How did this happen? I got like 100 more questions for. I remember the weight thing when I was wrestling in high school. You find out a few hours before you have to go to a meet. I didn't make weight, so you got to go to the day before, put on a rubber sweatsuit, and you run and run and run and run until you lose it.
Yeah.
And then on the way on the bus, on the way to the match, you're just scarfing down all this stuff, this junk food, because you just lost all this energy. But I know exactly what it's talking about. Water skiing too. They even have showers, sprinkler system set up for the tournaments, so the skiers can cool off because you're wearing a big thick wetsuit. It's at 80, 90 degrees outside. It tears you up. Anyway, Releve Sports. How do they get a hold of you? Website.
Yep, Releve Sports Medicine, RELEVE Sports Medicine. Yep, or search the best sports medicine physician in the county.
There you go. Dr. Michelle Henne, also a superstar water skier. Thanks so much for joining us.